Okay, so let's go into Q&A session. Again, so to raise your hand in Zoom, it's Option Y on Mac or Alt Y on Windows. And who has the first question? We had a pretty intense discussion going before this, so. Robert, go ahead, sir.
Yes. I only made a few notes. In your PowerPoint, you mentioned research experiments by Telpade. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Tesla and Hitler. I'm just curious what references you have that point to their research or what they have to say about it.
Yes, sir. There are like many for example, Tesla, sir. There are many devices, huge list of devices. Same to same we can see in Vimana Shastra. There is a chapter called Yantras. So there are those references, and even Hitler, he has followed like ancient texts, Sanskrit also. And I have a person from Randall, his name, sir. So he is from London. So he's a former NASA scientist, and he has a company, Blue Ocean Sciences. So he has contacted me. Even now we are in doing research. So there are like references, blueprints, and in the references they have these Vedic texts as a reference. So they have taken that anti-gravity device, and in the Vedic text, when I have done research, there is a yantra called Ganapa yantra. So Ganapati means like removing the obstacles. Okay, so when we have a spacecraft which we wanted to go to space, so what is the main obstacle? Then the gravity. So what this Ganapa yantra does means it will be just removing gravity force, means it will be completely zero gravity force with this particular device. So this particular yantra they have taken as reference. When I saw the pictures also, you can like see in my book, Reverse Engineering Vedic Vimanas. So Ganapa yantra and D clock, those devices look same.
Wonderful.
I'd like to ask one other question, if that's okay.
Go for it, sir. Go for it.
You also mentioned recreated and reinvented materials, devices, and
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Darpanas / mirrors from these devices in the 20th century. First, could you define what Darpanas is? I couldn't find it in the dictionary, so I imagine it's an Indian word.
I couldn't understand your question, sir. Means, are you asking the list of the recreated devices and materials from Vimana Shastra?
Well, you just mentioned a statement in your slides, and the other statement that you mentioned read recreated and reinvented materials, devices, and Darpanas / mirrors from
Yes, sir.
Vanham and Castra in the 20th century. Can you define Darpanas, please?
Darpanas. Okay, okay. Sorry, sir. Yes, sir. Darpanas means some particular crystal, sir. For example, this Rukma Vimana is there. Rukma Vimana, at the top there is sun crystal. So it is used for extracting huge amount of solar power, solar energy from the sun. It is made with a particular crystal. Like modern days we have solar panels, but these ancient sun crystal, it is like completely different. It is like these crystals, all such crystals, some particular crystals, they are already reinvented and prepared in the laboratory from Vaimanika Shastra. Means crystals. Darpanas means crystals.
And the function of the mirrors?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There is a chapter on mirrors in Vaimanika Shastra. So from that they have reinvented and recreated them from Vimana Shastra.
Yeah, and Robert, I should mention also on on the conference page, we have all of Kavya's links to her website. And so there's a lot more details there. So you may be able to answer some of these questions a little easier by going to her website. We also have photos of Kavya's work. And then Kavya was featured on Ancient Aliens, and she was in a number of other media sources. And so
And
all
this
of that
all
is on her.
conference page.
I'm sorry?
This is on the conference page.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's down at the bottom. We always put the links down at the bottom. So,
Okay, I'll look for it. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you,
absolutely.
sir.
Let me go to Michael Boyd next. Michael?
Hello. I'm curious about the. I'm interested in cultural violence, and my understanding is you're referring to epics in is it religious text or is it historic text?
Sir, these are like very, very ancient texts. Later on, like the human beings have got evil thoughts and they name it as religion or something like that. But these are like completely very, very ancient texts, like 1500 to 1000 BC. And technology is not limited for particular religious people. The technology is for everyone. So these ancient texts give complete information about technology. It has been already, many materials have been recreated and reinvented now in the laboratory. So these are like completely technology texts by the ancient ancestors.
Was
It is
it?
not any religious text.
I'm just curious if it was when we hear about it in our culture, our cultural media, it's always associated with war or battles or epic battles, that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
It's not associated with non-violent actions, let's say. It always has a context of violence. And so, and I'm curious about that because of in our context, I'm concerned about nuclear war in the world, for example.
Can I say
So I'm
something?
basically curious. I studied anthropology and the physics both. So I'm curious about is this something to be afraid of, to feel for that would make us afraid?
Can I answer this?
Certainly.
I'll say a line and then you can tell your words, Kishle. So, sir, actually, the human race is like, for example, there are many other species also in many other planets and many other galaxies. So when some other species try to some other beings try to occupy our planet Earth, and since our ancestors have created this place beautifully for our people, so they have passed on this text to protect ourselves. There are defense related slokas, descriptions, devices. There are many such things, but that have to be used only for protecting our human race from other race, other planetary beings when they try to occupy our planet, but not to fight among ourselves. So that thing we have to notice. But in Kali Yuga, means now the mind is not only the nature pollution, even the mind have been polluted. So that is why some wars keep happening. So that is why even this text Vimana Shastra also, it has been hidden. Many researchers found that like it has been hidden by a secret seven unknown men, Ashoka something. So that's what the reason they say. So it has to be used only for protecting our human race, means because our ancestors have created this location for us. So that's the thing.
So I'm
Yes.
feeling
So
a little
actually,
Kisle, let me, I have a follow-up.
yes, sir.
I'm feeling confused about at one point, it seems like you're suggesting that it was extraterrestrial origin of this technology, and then in another context, you're talking about your ancestors. So I'm curious, are you saying this is a human creation or a creation of some other non-human source?
Sir, this area I did not do research. So since I'm aeronautical engineer, I did not focus much. But there are texts related to aliens in the history, like Puranas, which I mentioned. There are aliens mentioned in the Sanskrit texts.
Cool. I'm just, thank you for clarifying that. Now, Kisle, you wanted to say something?
Yes.
I
If I could
apologize.
explain this in few words, like technology, we all have that, but in order to not give them to the wrong hands, people might have really put it into stories of gods and wars, so that people get more and more influenced by the historical thing. Because in ancient times, people did not really believe in sciences and facts, but they believed in something like myths or stories, which like people could just like give some fear in their mind, like, oh, if we do this, this will be wrong. So people are taught in this way by connecting this in stories, and so that the technology, like the Vimana technology, it might have been so advanced. And you talked about nuclear wars. There are many references, like the Brahmastra. Like it was a weapon which could like really vanish the whole earth, like probably like a nuclear weapon. So in order to not let the weapon or the any technology, it could be both used in a good manner and a bad manner. So in order to make them be in the good hands, they just made like molded out stories to make a fear in people, so that they could be taught about it. So yes, this could be an answer. Probability.
Okay, thank you both for your answers. They're appreciated.
Awesome. Okay, let me go, and Michael, thank you, sir. Let me go to Jeremy Reese next.
Hi, I had some specific questions about Mercury. I have a number of people in the chat saying that underneath about 80% of these ancient temples in India, they found pools of mercury in certain, sacred parts of the temples. And I know there's some mention of mercury in like these ancient Vedic texts, and there's also some interesting stuff related to mercury in the history and literature on anti-gravity research going back to the Nazi Bell and the Nazis' research into this. As we know, the Nazis were big into the Vril and Thule Society, and did a lot of sent a lot of scout missions to ancient India to try to collect similar intelligence to what your group is putting together. I was just specifically interested in the mercury, and anything you could say more about that, and whether that's confirmed that it's been found under these temples. Is that a fact?
Yes, sir. Actually, the temples also, most of the temples we like don't have the access. There are secret doors in most of the temples also, and mercury was used as a fuel by according to some researchers. But like I told you, the word fuel which we are using in modern technology, that is not the thing. They have used it to something like a rechargeable or something like a different kind of propulsion. So the even mercury, NASA for example, they have obviously tried the same thing, but the thing is they did not purify the mercury step by step. We should follow from Vedic texts, or else it will be failed. So for example, mercury ion engine example, the mercury, if we use it by purifying, then it will be giving like very good excellent efficiency. But like we have replaced it with xenon ion engines for example, but that's not the thing. When we follow step by step Vedic text, then obviously we can get success. So even our team Sri Maharshi Vedic Research Institute of Technology, they have worked a lot on this material department. Those people have done lots of research and experiments also, the laboratory mercury purification process and all those things. So that's what mercury, after purifying, when we use it in the technology, then it will be giving us results. Mercury was obviously used in the ancient technology.
I have a question, if you have any knowledge of this, but just occurred to me, if you take the isotopic ratio of mercury extracted straight from cinnabar and compared it with the mercury under those pools, I'm curious if there's any specific isotope of the mercury that would be missing from the mercury in these Indian temples, like if they use these sites to purify mercury and extract a specific isotope of mercury.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, example Rasa Shastra is another text. It is a complete different text, and we have to follow that for the purification of mercury and herbs. If you know that, like there are many herbs used in this particular procedure in order to purify mercury. So this much I know, but in detail, like for example, isotopes and all. Like my area is since my area is aerospace technology, so I'm not much into the materials. But as per my knowledge, like Rasa Shastra, it describes using herbs for the purification of mercury, means the properties will be changing into better way. So Ayurveda is also another text which describes about herbs mostly. So that also will be the reference.
Kavya, Karthik here.
Thank you.
Jeremy, I can answer your question. So the mercury, which isotope you're talking about, because mercury isotopes, radioactivity half-lives, go from 40 days to 440 years, right? If you're really concerned about the mercury poisoning because of the mercury processing that we have done in India for long quite of years, then you could have seen India being polluted by this time, right?
Mm.
So see, I'm going to present my presentation. There we will clearly tell you how to handle mercury. Okay, so I'm just waiting for the QA session to over. When it's over, I'll start my presentation where I'll just show you how we'll purify mercury. It's technically with XRD, SEM, TEM, PSA, everything. Okay, everything will show you.
Okay, and so Karthik, we can definitely do that. We are actually ahead of schedule, and that's totally okay. So we do have time for you to present that. Let me go through. We have questions from Carl and then Bader. So let me go through those first, and then if you'd like to present on the mercury, that would be wonderful. And Jeremy, I think that was all of your questions, right? For now.
Yeah, that was it pretty much.
Okay, and again, you mentioned some brilliant stuff before today's session started. I would love to have you mention that again at some point, but
Oh yes, so lots of references in the I was typing in the chat about when the first nuclear detonation occurred at the Trinity test site. Oppenheimer, who was the head of the Manhattan Project physics team that made that happen, quoted from the Bhagavad Gita, I have become death, destroyer of worlds. And there's and then there's all this stuff about the ancient land bridge that used to connect Sri Lanka, that you can actually see it from Google Earth. These ancient peoples built a whole land bridge that used to connect the island of Sri Lanka from the tip of India. And just the fact that we don't know who built those temples or when, and the intricate stonework is like, it's beyond what we could do with modern tooling technology. Almost, it's incredibly intricate. If you've seen some of the videos on those temples.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Let me go to Carl next, who's been patiently waiting, and then I'll go to Bader after that. Carl, go for it, sir.
Hi. Thanks so much for sharing. It was really, really fascinating. To kind of go back to something you were talking about a little before with potentially where this knowledge, ancient knowledge came from. Is there any sort of discussion about how these ancient sages came to this information? Or should we be thinking about this like incremental technological developments through an academia? Was meditation involved, or was something, trying to contact entities off-world potentially?
Yes, sir. Means I'm sorry. Like previously they were talking. Is this a doubt question asked to me?
Prior to anybody that maybe has any insights, and if not, then we can just go on.
Yeah, Kavya, I think to kind of reframe Carl's question, I think he was wondering where the innovation developed, right? How did they develop this?
Yes.
And
Okay. Sir, yes, sir. So, like, say, just for example, Maharshi Bharadwaja, we don't have, for example, the temples itself, which we have in our country, India. So, they are very ancient. We don't know who built it, how they built it. So, the same situation and same cases with the sages. We don't know, like, their ancestors and how they got those information and knowledge. But as per our Vedic text, there is an interesting fact that Lord Vishnu means one of the ancient ancestor or energy. So they are ruling several lokas, means several regions, several planets. So means they are also ruling some other planets along with our planet Earth. So they are taking care of some other planets also. And like I told, like we see in the Vedic text also, that ancient ancestors used to live many centuries, not even centuries, even many like many years. Not they like death is like not like in modern days. So the knowledge and like we can understand how it would be there. So I think that even exploring like from the within, we can get knowledge. We can contact. There is a text called there is a book called intergalactic with scripture, Vaimanika Shastra, which I have written. So there in that book, that is very very interesting book, and in that they have written how to contact the energies, means how to contact the gods. They means in our English, modern English, we call them as gods, right? So in that book they have written how to contact them, what is the exact particular procedure to contact them from with the mind, and to get the information on Vimana Shastra. For example, means that is like an energies. Even Nikola Tesla, he used to get knowledge from by in a particular state, like that. They used to get knowledge like that. Even every one of us, when we are not having not able to solve any problem, we are going to get like in when we do meditation or something like that, exploring from within, we are going to get the answers. So this I haven't explored this spiritual, like we call it spiritual in modern science and technology, but this is like completely like unseen energies around us, where which we can contact and get the information. I think sages have done such procedure, but I don't even know like how they have understood even this, how to contact the extraterrestrial or the energies from the within. But meditation obviously gives the answers to most of our questions.
I think Karthik Kamanchi can throw some light on that. He may be having some information about this. Karthik, can you help?
Yeah, sure, Madhu. See, logically speaking, okay, let's say I don't believe in meditation. I'm a new age guy. I'm a 21st century person. I don't believe in energy. I don't believe in meditation. I don't believe in God. Very good. Let's understand that in ancient Indian texts, there's something called as yuga. Okay, one yuga. For example, if you take Kali Yuga, that is the period which is running now, is approximately 4,32,000 years. Okay, and then you go to Dwapara Yuga, it is twice of that. And you go to Treta Yuga, it's 3 times of that, and Kruta Yuga, it's 4 times of this. So now, for example, somebody comes and asks, does dinosaur existed millions of years ago? Right? You are able to tell or accept their roaming around the world because of the fossil fuels which we have been using it. Right? Let me say you don't have fossil fuels. Now, how can you justify that dinosaurs roamed Earth? So, see, after the end of each yuga, according to Indian text, the entire the entire universe is wiped off and a new universe is born. Okay. So now let me tell this in a most logical way. If something didn't exist, if something existed 10 years ago at one place, and suddenly there is an earthquake, the building was destroyed. Now you go back to the place and say that, there is no building here. So that does mean that there's no building there 10 years back, right? So what I think is, see, whatever these sages are, I think they are all ancient scientists who has worked a lot, okay, in understanding the concepts, right? And then exploiting the concepts, experimenting the concepts, and getting out technically what it is. So they have studied. Okay, it's not, I mean, it's again debatable that aliens exist, that alien does not exist. Okay, that's altogether it's a separate issue. But then we cannot say, since something does not exist, doesn't mean something does not exist now, doesn't mean it did not exist previously. Correct? So I think sages are the ancient scientists who has predominantly worked, they have experimented, and then they have built it. Right. So I'm going to tell you, right. So when I do my presentation, most of the queries which you're getting right now, they will be answered. Right?
Okay. Well, Karthik, let me do this. Let me go to Badr really quick, and sir, let me do that, and then we will do your presentation. Badr, would you like to go ahead and let me apologize. I know I'm not pronouncing your name right.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's Badr. Okay, thank you, Kavya, for the presentation. It's really interesting. I'm wondering about what happened to the Vimanas. It's like saying all planes on Earth have disappeared suddenly. Is there any remnants of the Vimanas? Do you have any idea about this? And
Yes, sir. I'm happy that you. Okay.
What is the last approximate date when the last Vimana existed? Thank you.
Your audio is not clear. Can you repeat that last line, sir? Sorry.
Yeah. What is the last approximate date when the last Vimana existed?
Okay. Sir, actually, Vimanas have an ability, advanced ability. So there are devices which can make the Vimana appear like the sky. Means not only to the radar, the Vimanas can completely disappear. They are not visible to our eye. So there are many such advanced features in the Vimanas. There are also devices which can mentioned in the Vimana Shastra which can make it possible. So that could be the reason why we cannot see the Vimanas now as an evidence. But there was a news long back that in the Afghanistan cave they found a Vimana. So I couldn't know later on, but one of the foreigner friend, who's my friend, I have inquired him. They said that later on the evidences are removed. So I even don't know, even in the temples also there are underground tunnels are there, and they are locked. They don't open. The government will be locking it. So we don't have access to most of the things. But Vimanas had this ability to disappear. It not only has the ability to disappear, but also, like for example, do you know holographic images? So hologram. So what happened is, there are some when I'm doing my research, there are yantras in the Vimana to make it appear like tiger or snake or whatever the pilot likes to choose. So there are many such things. So that's why I think that is the main reason why we cannot find it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Actually, so let me go. Actually, we have Jeremy, Reese, and Kishley. Guys, can you hold on for just a moment until after Karthik finishes his presentation? That's okay.